You are listening to Random Gameplay Pimpin.
What is going down? What is going down? This is your boy, Studio MacGyver, and you're listening to Random Gameplay Pimpin. If you're into anime, nerd culture, and most importantly, video games, you come to the right place because we talk about all of that shit here. This is podcast episode number 340. I want to talk about a few things today. It's not going to be a very long show, but I'm going to get into some hot topics here, guys. We had the Video Game Award nominations come in. I'm going to talk about some of those. I'm also going to talk a little bit about my Anime Watchlist. We have some Dragon's Dogma news, and we definitely have to talk about The Last of Us 2 Remake because there's some things that just came to my attention, and I really want to dive into this. And then also, we're going to talk about Gamestop. All right. And then there's one other thing I'm going to get into, and I'll let that be a surprise. But without further ado, guys, let's get into it. I guess I want to start out with my Anime Watchlist. Yes, Made in Abyss. This one caught me off guard. I was watching some YouTube videos and somebody was talking about underrated anime. This one came up and I gave it a shot, and I'm a few episodes in, and I got to say, I really like what I'm seeing so far. It's about these kids who live on this island, and in the middle of the island is this big gaping hole, right? And they call it the abyss, and nobody knows how deep this thing goes. Now, they know that it goes deep. There's different layers, and a lot of those layers have been recorded and studied. But the thing about this abyss is the deeper you go down, the more dangerous it becomes. And then when you try to go back up to, I guess, village or the island back up to the top, you become cursed. That's the premise of it. It's about this girl whose mother was supposedly this super big hero on this island. And she was one of the only ones to be able to go down so far and come back up. Apparently now she went on another mission and she has not returned. Okay. And usually when you go down past a certain level, they consider that a point of no return. So they say, once you reach this level, you're probably not going to return. You're probably going to die down there. This little girl meets this android boy. He looks like a boy, but he's actually, he looks like an android as well. He has mechanical parts and things of that nature. And the boy doesn't know where he came from. So they kind of become friends. They decide to go down this abyss, take an adventure down this abyss. And there's more to it than that, but I don't want to, spoil anything. It's really a dope premise. They have this ranking system with these whistles, they call them, so if you're like a young kid, you're an orphan, you can only go down so far. Very, very top of the abyss, they call you a red whistle. And as you move on and you go further down, the whistle color changes. And I think the best or the strongest of the top color is associated with like the best of the best would be the white whistle. So, there's a lot of dope shit. There's also a black whistle, which is right before the white whistle. So there's a lot of dope shit here. I'm really early into it right now, but I'm definitely going to finish it out. And the characters, the animation style, it looks very cutesy, Ghibli-esque, if you know what that is. But it's really a facade, if that makes any sense. It's really quite dark. This anime is underneath the surface, which kind of goes hand in hand with the essence of the premise of the story, which is going into the abyss. The further down you go, the deeper you go, the more treacherous things become. I really like this anime so far, and I love the music as well. Dope soundtrack so far. So if you haven't seen this one, definitely give this one a chance. And that is what I'm watching right now. I definitely have to finish a few other anime. I definitely have to finish Attack on Titan. I have to knock that out because that's over now. Can't believe I haven't gotten to that yet. Onimusha, that's on the list as well. And then there's one other one, but I can't think of it right now. I can't come to mind, but there's another one on my list I need to finish. But those are what I'm currently watching right now. That's my anime watch list, guys. Now I want to move on, and I want to talk about Dragon's Dogma. We have a leak concerning the release date of this game, guys. Now, apparently, the leak is saying that the game is going to release in March 22nd, 2024. So there's a lot of stuff coming out in the first quarter of the next year, and that's pretty exciting. There's some stuff coming out in January now that I have my eye on. There's some stuff coming out now in March, February as well. You have Grand Blue Fantasy coming out in February. So I have a pretty list of games coming out in that first quarter. So I'm excited about that, bringing in the new year with some stuff. And then you also, we're going to have some news about the Nintendo Switch. I guarantee you guys in that first quarter sometime there as well. So it's going to be a lot of things going down in 2024, because 2023 was definitely amazing when it comes to video games and what we got a chance to see. And I'm looking forward to that first quarter of 2024 for sure. Now I want to talk about a subject that's kind of, if you're in the gaming space and if you follow a lot of gaming YouTubers and you're just in that bubble, a lot of you may have heard about this story. There's a YouTuber that goes by the name of The Completionist, and he's somebody that I actually follow. He's this guy who, what makes him so unique is, if you don't know who he is, he platinums every game he plays for his YouTube channel. That's pretty much his thing, right? He takes a game, any game, just some random game sometimes, and he says, yo, I'm going to take this game, play it, and do everything. All right. This guy has been exposed. He has this foundation. Okay. And he encourages people to make a donation. Apparently his mom had dementia and she died from that. And he wanted to, I guess, give back to a foundation that supports, studies and trying to prevent, this disease. Right. So for years, apparently since I want to say 2014, he's been receiving these donations, right? Thousands and thousands of dollars. And he's kept the money after all these years. Okay. He has not donated any of this money. The money is sitting in his account, hundreds of thousands of dollars. I want to say like $600,000 to $700,000 is just sitting there. A couple of YouTubers got wind of it. I don't know how they got wind of it, but if they fell down a rabbit hole. All right. And they started breaking shit down, and this guy has been exposed, and it just looks bad. All right. He claims that he did not know about this. He claims that, I guess it came to his attention around 2021 that the money was still there, and he was shocked that that was the case. Okay. And the reason he hasn't done anything about it up to this point of him knowing is because he hasn't found the proper, I guess, cause to donate to. He hasn't found the proper company, whatever you want to call it. Okay. He's basically saying, I'm searching for the right entity to make this donation to. That just sounds so, that sounds so sleazy, man. Okay. But what's so crazy about all this is he claiming that he doesn't know about this money still being in his account. Every year, like clockwork, he has a event asking for more donations. Okay. Every year. So you can remember every year to put together this function of yours and have people donate for the cause, quote unquote, but you don't know about the money, and you haven't seen the money, and you haven't even looked in the money's direction or seen where the money was going. You haven't done any of that. That's what you're claiming. And that's what's making him look extremely guilty as well. All right. He even goes even further in the interview and basically tells the guys interviewing him, look, do you guys tell me who you guys want me to donate it to? Is there somebody that you guys have thought about that you want me to put the money, donate the money to? I'm all ears. I'll take that into consideration. And everybody's looking at him like, bro, you're the guy who owns this. It's your job to simply find someone who's worthy of the donation and give it to them. There's hundreds of, maybe even thousands of different charities that you could donate this money to, and you have not done it yet. And then they go back into the paperwork and they look at some of the finances and some of the money that they've spent, and they mark those as certain necessary fees, okay, when dealing with this money, okay, but there's no documentation of where the money was spent. So if they get audited by the IRS, if they decide to go and find the paper trail and what's going on here, there's going to be nothing. It's vaporware, okay? They're not going to be able to trace this money. There's not going to be any receipts, and they're going to be on the hook for this shit. So before it gets too ridiculous, I'm guessing he needs to find out what's going on and they need to get rid of this money. Okay. And then they also dove in and they saw that, okay, let's look at who's in charge of everything in this charity. And they went down and listened. It's all family members. Okay. Vice presidents, CEOs and all these things. These are people that weren't hired externally. These are people who were in his family. And like I said, just putting them on the docket, so to speak. So it's a lot of shady shit going on here. And if he doesn't slow his fucking roll, I guarantee you the FBI is going to pull out an extremely large tub of butter and they're going to use it on this person and anybody else involved in this. Okay. It's been brought to the light now. Eyeballs are on it. This thing is catching fire. And now all these YouTubers, these gaming YouTubers and so on and so forth are talking about this shit. And now his worst nightmare has probably come true. Okay. Because everybody he thought he was cool with, or he thought was cool with him, is toting at least a stick of butter, and they're going to use it on him. I would fix this ASAP, okay? But even if you fix it now, you've already tainted your name in so many different ways. You can never ever host another one of these charity events. You're dead. That's done. Okay. I don't know if he was holding on to this money for a rainy day, an emergency, or whatever he thought he was doing. But guys, when you put your shit out there and this stuff is in the public domain, people are going to fucking try you. And this guy's a popular YouTuber. Okay. He has thousands and hundreds of thousands of people who watch him. And when you do anything shady, you can be exposed just like that now. Anybody can pull your card. And I think he forgot that. I think he didn't think it was going to happen. And now that it has, he's exposed himself, and I can never look at this guy the same again. And that's talking about a lot of people. He used his mother on this for this to gain sympathy from donators, to send money in. That's crazy, man. It's just crazy. I don't know what to say about that. I mean, there's really nothing else that can be said. He pulled out butter on a lot of people, and now or pretty much these YouTubers hit him with an Uno reverse card, and now it's the tables have turned. I'll say that. So what is he going to do? I don't know, but I advise him to fucking get rid of that shit. I advise him to actually kill that charity, because nobody's going to donate to that anymore. Okay, that's just bringing more negative attention to you, and you don't want that. I don't understand why he wouldn't do what most people do who are actually doing things for charity, which is just send the people to the actual direct link to that charity. So you don't have to worry about anything. You don't have to have a hand in all of this or any of it. You can just say, here's the link. When you hit this link, it's going to take you directly to whatever that charity is, and you can donate straight to them. You don't have to go through me, which is the middleman. And that's what he was doing. Hey, donate to me, send the money to me, and then I will give it to these charities. That right there is a red flag in itself. I mean, why else would you need that? Why would you need to do that? Unless you were trying to plan something shady. That's all I'm saying. And I'll leave it at that. Let's get into something else. And I want to get into these video game nominations. Okay. Now there's only 6 slots here, guys, if you don't know, for Game of the Year. And this is the main thing I'm going to be talking about, because there were some games that I thought might be in the conversation, and a lot of people thought might be in the conversation, but it's not the case. I, for one, will tell you right now, Final Fantasy 16 is not in this conversation, which I thought would have one of the slots. But I'm going to go over the nominees and we'll talk about that. So we have Alan Wake 2. We have Super Mario Wonder. We have Tears of the Kingdom, Zelda, of course. We have Baldur's Gate 3. We have Resident Evil 4, the remake. And we have Marvel Spider-Man 2. These are the 6 slots that are going to be nominated. So one of these 6 will be Game of the Year. Now, most people out here in the video game streets are talking about Baldur's Gate 3 and Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Those are probably the 2 front runners. And then you have your dark horse, which I consider Alan Wake 2. Even though I haven't played Alan Wake 2 yet, everything I've seen about Alan Wake 2 screams just awesome. And I can't wait to play that game eventually. It's just, I got a lot on my plate, but I will eventually play this, and I can't wait to play it. But that is one that I could see actually winning. So in other words, if Alan Wake 2 won this, I really wouldn't be that surprised for a couple of reasons. One, let's take Spider-Man, for instance. Spider-Man has already won at one point in time. This is the 3rd installment of Spider-Man. So it doesn't have that wow factor like it once had when everybody's witnessed it for the first time, if in my opinion, at least. Tears of the Kingdom, that's the second Zelda game, which the first one has already won. So if you're talking about trying to spread the love, so to speak, if they're all so good and you can't decide, you have a stalemate and you're like, damn, I don't know which one to get, man. I like all these games equally. Then I would go towards a new game, something that hasn't won before. That's just me. That's my personal opinion. And that's why I think that Alan Wake 2 might be able to inch out a victory here, but I could be wrong. Okay. Baldur's Gate 3 is one that everybody's been talking about. If you've been hiding under a rock, Baldur's Gate 3 is supposed to be the next best thing since sliced bread, and everybody is singing its praises. And certainly so. It's definitely got a lot of dope accolades, and there's a lot of good things under their hood. That game was complete. That game was not rushed. You can tell when you play the game. This is all the things that I've seen, that I've read so far up to this point. Now, I'm personally wanted to play Baldur's Gate, but I put it on the back burner because it definitely is one of those games. It's a true RPG. You're going to be doing a shit ton of reading, a shit ton of things like that. So if you're playing Baldur's Gate and you're into that thing, you know what I'm talking about. But if you're not, it can definitely be heavy handed on a lot of that type of stuff. So if you don't have time for it, then you might want to wait until you do. And that's why I haven't touched it and probably won't touch it for a while. But I definitely understand how awesome that game is. And listening to everybody talk about it, I can humbly agree with a lot of those things, even though I'm just on the outside looking in. But that game there, definitely strong. Resident Evil 4 Remake is one that just surprised me. I thought, maybe Final Fantasy might be in a place where that is right now. And it's a remake, As much as I love Resident Evil 4 Remake, it's my favorite Resident Evil game of all time. Coming in, number 2 coming in, part 2 coming in second. Resident Evil 4 Remake was dope. I played it, I beat it. And it is an awesome experience. It is, but it's a remake. And I just personally, as big as a fan as I am on this series, I would have liked to seen another game in that place, something that we have not seen. So that's just my humble opinion. I'm sure there's other games that could have, been in that slot besides even Final Fantasy 16. But that's there. I don't think that one's going to win simply because it's a remake. Could I be wrong? Absolutely. I could be 100% wrong, but I just don't think I am. Okay. Now, Spider-Man, Marvel's Spider-Man 2, I've heard great things about that. This is one I did not play, guys, that I thought I would be playing. But at the last minute, I decided to back off and wait for a sale on this one. And I think because personally, I played the other 2 games, and when it came time to buy this game, it wasn't the top game on my priority list. Okay. There was other things that I would have rather played. And so I took that route and I said, you know what, I'll come back around with this game later, especially when you're dealing with somebody who plays a lot of games like me. And I just, wanted to go a different direction. I didn't want to keep spending money on these games if I wasn't going to play them as soon as I got them. If it wasn't a game that I said, as soon as I get this game, I'm going to play the shit ton out of it. And I've been waiting on this game. I've been dreaming about this game, all of these type of things up until its release. And that didn't happen for me with Spider-Man 2. And I think the reason that is because I've played the other 2 and that wow factor wasn't slapping as hard as it was before. And I was listening to my gut. 110% this time. I said, I'm listening to my gut. I'm not going to buy this because everybody else can't wait to buy this or play this. I'm going to buy it because I feel this way 100% about this game and I want to play it now. Okay. And that didn't happen with Spider-Man 2. So when it's on sale, I'll definitely play it. I'll definitely do all that. And I'll address that after I finish that game at another time. Super Mario Wonder. That one could easily win as well. There's a lot of people playing this, loving this game. And like I said, there's just so many games coming out at this time, guys. That's out. There was just so many games. And unless you're just balling out of control, you're not going to be able to buy them all at one point at the same time. You're just not. So I had to pick and choose what games I wanted to play. I chose to wait for Mario RPG, and that's what I did. And guys, I haven't even played Mario RPG yet. I'm still playing Paper Mario right now. And I'm trying to decide, do I want to go ahead and start Super Mario RPG and go ahead and put Paper Mario to the side or what? But I'm having such a good time with Paper Mario. I'm like, yo, I'm here. I'm in this. I just kind of want to see where this goes. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I definitely want to play RPG. What's probably going to happen, if I'm being honest, I'm probably going to take a break from a Super Paper Mario, and I'm going to play RPG. I am, because I definitely have really wanted to play this one, and I don't think I'm going to make it this week without touching it. So that's probably what's going to happen. I'll let you guys know next week. Trust me, I will. But I did get the game, and it is sitting beautifully in a dresser drawer with the shrink wrap still on it. Okay. Anyway, that's the nominees right there. I don't know who's going to win. I'm not, I can't read the future, but asking me now, it'd probably be the Zelda, or it'd probably be Baldur's Gate. If Alan Wake 2 won, I wouldn't be surprised. But if you put a gun in my head and say, yo, you have to pick one and one only, you can't have two. You got to just pick one. I'm going to say Baldur's Gate 3. And I'm going to say Baldur's Gate 3 because Tears of the Kingdom has already, Breath of the Wild has already won one. And they're probably going to say, well, you know what? Baldur's Gate deserves this. So we're going to go that route. We'll definitely reconvene after the Video Game Awards and talk about the winners and stuff like that. See what happens. Okay, but that's my prediction, and I'm going to stick with that one. But another category I wanted to talk about real quick was Best RPG. Okay, some nominations here, and we got Baldur's Gate 3 again. We have Sea of Stars. We have Final Fantasy 16, and we have Lies of P, which is crazy. And we also have Starfield. Now, here's where a little bit of the controversy takes place, and you have all these people talking about Xbox tax and all of this crazy stuff going on. Okay, Starfield was not even considered for Game of the Year, guys. If I'm being honest, Starfield was a little bit overhyped. Is it a good game? Yes, it's a good game in its own right. It is. It's a good game. Is it a great game? In my opinion, it's not a great game. Okay, if I have to give it a grade, it's a solid 7 or 8 out of 10. And I've played maybe 15 hours of that game and haven't went back yet. Not saying I'm not going back. Please don't get it twisted. I'm definitely going back in there. But it was just overhyped in my opinion. It wasn't as good as people said it was going to be, if that makes sense. I'm sure there's people out there who adore the game, and certainly so if that's how you feel. But as far as how they kind of rolled it out, when they kind of snuck in, hey, well, it's going to be 30 frames and this and this and that. And then when you actually got to play the game, you got to see some of the shortcomings technically under the hood, if that makes sense. That's just me. That's just my opinion, guys, what I've witnessed on the Xbox Series S. Now, I'm not playing it on, the Series X or PC or anything like that. So I'm sure those guys are getting a lot better experiences out of that. That's where I stand on it. Am I going to go back and play the game? Yes, I am. I am going to finish the game. I did like what I was playing. Definitely worth going and playing all the way through. But there were some things in the game where they encouraged you to actually go and play it over multiple times. And this game is so huge. It's like, yo, do I really want to go in here back to back to back and play the game like that to actually do some of the things without spoiling anything? That's what the game encourages, and there's reasons for that. To each his own. I'm definitely going to play it through once at least, and then I'll go from there and see what happens next. But I understand why it wasn't considered. I still think it should have been nominated because I think it was good enough to be considered for a nomination. Because like I said, one man's trash is another man's treasure. And just because you just feel meh or mid about a game, it doesn't mean that everybody else is, because there are some super fans of this game. There are some people who absolutely love this game, who thought the game was everything they thought it was going to be and more. So like I said, this is just my opinion. I think that Resident Evil 4 slot could have easily went for Starfield, and so on and so forth, if I'm being honest. But it is what it is, guys. That's why a lot of people on the Xbox community are upset, because they're looking at that like, yo, you put a Final Fantasy, you put a Resident Evil remake in this spot here. Like, really? That's what you're doing? Kind of makes sense in a way if you think about it like that, but it is what it is. But anyway, Final Fantasy 16 is in this category. I'm going to say they're going to win this. Lies of P could. I'm not going to lie. It could be Lies of P, which is, I'm surprised is in this. Yes, it's an RPG, and it's definitely a unique one. I will give it that. I could see that happening. But then you have Baldur's Gate as well. Baldur's Gate might take this. Okay. So Baldur's Gate could come in here and sweep the scene. I still believe that Final Fantasy 16 is going to win this, and that's where I'm putting my money on. I think Final Fantasy 16 was a phenomenal game. One of my favorites of the year. I don't know. A lot of people, I think, just didn't want to deal with the fact that this was more of an action-based game, okay? You controlled one character. It was, you know, straightforward in its storytelling, and it wasn't completely open world per se, and it wasn't turn-based. Most people consider, you know, RPGs from Square Enix, when you're talking about the Final Fantasy franchise, most of them are, you know, more of a turn-based, or you had more of where you can play with different party members and switch between those and do all that. Because we do have Final Fantasy 7 Remake, and we do have Final Fantasy 15 and those games, and those were action-based as well. I think there's just a lot of weird shit that happened with Final Fantasy 16 when you're talking about fans, okay, and even some of the media who, you know, who was given the responsibility to make these votes and some of these things. But me personally, I'm a huge fan of Final Fantasy 16, and I definitely love it. And I hope they move forward with some of this stuff in future iterations. I'm not saying take exactly everything from this one and port it over, but I damn sure want them to take a lot of the things that they implemented in this game and take it and put it over there for the next project. That's what I'm saying. And I still hope we get a DLC. I'm still waiting for that. I definitely want to finish the story, so to speak. If you haven't played the game, without spoiling anything, there's a little bit more that a lot of us are waiting for. We're waiting for a question to be answered really, really bad. And I hope we get that answer through a DLC or something like that. But I'll leave that there. Walk away. But anyway, that's where we're standing right now, guys. Those are the nominees for that. We also have best indie games, and here's a few of these. Dave the Diver. I'm not surprised. That fucking game is awesome. Play the demo. That's all I'll tell you. Play the demo. There's one called Cocoon that I really haven't had a chance to check out, but I definitely am intrigued to try something like this. It looks awesome. Definitely want to give that a go. But a lot of people have been talking about Cocoon. I've been listening to, you know, I listen to all kinds of podcasts, Nintendo podcasts, PlayStation podcasts, all these different people, and this one keeps popping up. So I'm very interested to see what that one's about. Then there's one called Dredge. It's another one. It's about a fisherman who has a boat and he's doing these things. It's an RPG. I guess at night, these crazy things happen and you get psychedelic. All kinds of crazy shit starts to occur. But this one looks good. It's beautiful. Graphics, everything. This game was beautifully made. You can tell heart and soul went into this, that one. And then you have a Sea of Stars again, okay, for best indie. And Sea of Stars is probably going to win this, but I don't know. The way people are talking about Cocoon, this one is going to be a toss-up. I don't know. I really don't. And there's a lot of indie games out here that aren't going to get praised or aren't going to get nominated. And when you talk about the indie scene, it's so many games that are going to get overlooked and have been overlooked. And these are just a few. There could have been easily another dozen games, you know what I mean? But they just didn't make the cut for whatever reason. Okay, the moons didn't line up correctly, and any of those games could have easily been nominated and could easily take home the win, if I'm being honest. But it's just not enough slots for that. And that's the thing we have now, especially where we're at now in gaming. It's not back in the 80s and 90s where, you know, development teams weren't robust and just all over the place, which now everybody and their mother has a fucking studio somewhere, whether it's in your basement or whether you have your own little studio tucked away in your closet somewhere, working on a piece that you just can't wait for people to see and discover. There's all of these things now with technology and brilliant people and creators that are putting out fucking works of art. I mean, 1-man, 2-man teams out here just stunning people left and right. So I just love the indie scene when it comes to games. And that's really my whole motivation for trying to get a Steam Deck OLED, because I want my library to be stupid. My Nintendo Switch indie library is growing at an enormous rate. And I want the same thing for the Steam Deck OLED eventually. I do. I love indie developers. I love indie games. Team 17. There's so many of them. Okay, Level 5, Devolver Digital. Companies like this deserve all the praise in the world, you know. These publishing companies, you know, and the way that they go out and they find all these teams and stuff and do what they do, you know. But that's that for the Video Game Award nominations. There are, of course, a lot more: best music, best screenplay, best this, best that. But I wasn't going to go over all of that. The more important ones to me were these here, and I wanted to discuss that with you guys. So there you have it. Next, I want to talk about the end of GameStop, or the beginning of the end of GameStop, guys. And I've talked about this briefly before, but I'm really going to dive into this now because it's become apparent that GameStop is truly on its last fucking legs. And the butter is on the table. The butter is on the counter. The butter is in the bathroom. Wherever you're at, the butter is there too. And I say that because there's some things that just took place. And if I'm an employee at GameStop, I'm already looking for other employment opportunities, okay? And the thing that shocked me the most is the fact that they just completely cut off all medical benefits for the most part. I think the only thing left is, I think dental, eyes. I think that's it. Everything else, all the life insurance, all of these other ones, the main ones, the ones that matter, okay, really, they're gone. They're off the table, okay? No one is ever going to do that again, okay? That's a wrap. They cut all that, all right? They also have this conference that they have every year in Las Vegas, okay? When you talk to GameStop employees, especially managers and stuff, they always tell you, this is the only reason why I'm here now, because of this conference. It's supposed to be so great, apparently, is what this conference was doing, but they canceled that as well. Okay, there's not going to be any more of those conferences. All right. But the healthcare thing with the benefits is really what hit home. And now they changed it to employee paid. So you already don't make shit working at GameStop. Now they want you to spend your own money on your fucking on your benefits. Okay. That lets me know right now one thing. They are getting ready to file bankruptcy. That's on the horizon, guys. It's coming within the next year and a half, I think. So be looking out for that. Also, if you remember, I talked a little bit about their policy for returning games, consoles, and insurance on those things. Instead of giving you a new one, they are now giving you a used one instead. Okay, so you drop your fucking, Switch or whatever, and you had a warranty on it, where usually the old warranty allowed you to go back in there and get a brand new one because it was covered. Now you have to take that in and you're going just to get a used one. Okay. And Lord forbid they don't have any used ones on deck. I don't know what's going to happen there. I haven't even thought that far, but you can tell if you look at all the signs where this is going. All right. They are starting to tank the company slowly but surely. And they're going to set themselves up and file bankruptcy here shortly. I think that's what's going to happen. Just read the signs, follow the paper trail, and you will see. And that's what's happening. Just keeping it real with you guys. Why would they cut all these things? They've also cut a lot of the benefits for the pro membership. Okay. It used to be $14.99. Now it's $24.99. And then you don't get any benefits anymore. So they want you to pay $10 more, but with no benefits, as opposed to the $15. And then you had certain benefits. Of course, they cut all the digital shit out that you were able to use that stuff for, because GameStop is against digital stuff in the first place. All right. Because that's part of the reason why they're starting to go out of business. People are just downloading shit from the stores and playing things digital. Physical copies are becoming obsolete, even though they try to soften the cushion or cushion the blow with other things in their shops, in their stores, which they have a lot of anime type of things, which I do appreciate as an anime fan. They have a lot of anime collectibles and things of that nature, t-shirts and wallets and hats and stuff like that. Apparently it's not enough. I hope that it is to save them, because GameStop, to me personally, is still a place where I consider, hey, a gamer's store, where you go to get your games and things of that nature. And just, I'm going to miss it. Certain things about it in the good old days. I remember back when it was called Funco Land, and a lot of you guys probably don't remember that, but it used to be called Funco Land, okay, before they were bought out and changed to GameStop. That's a long time ago. Okay, so showing my age here, but still, definitely gonna miss certain aspects of it, but there's other aspects that I won't. And a lot of people can agree to that as well. There's a lot of practices that were kind of shady, especially now. I mean, there's no reason to fuck with GameStop as far as becoming a pro member or anything like that. For what? They're not going to be around. Okay. And it's not worth it. I'm not buying a warranty on anything now. Okay. Because you're going to get the used in return. It's just like, it doesn't make sense to do that. So it's not looking good, guys. That's all I'm going to say. And just read all of the signs, and they're right there in front of you. When they cut that for the employees, it tells me right now that they don't give a fuck anymore. And then apparently Black Friday is coming up. So they're actually leaving, one man or one woman to handle all of that. So they're basically not allocating store hours anymore. You have one person in the shop. You're never going to go into a GameStop and see 2 employees. It'll be a rare occurrence. It's like finding a fucking, black unicorn or some shit like that. If you see 2 GameStop employees at the shop at one time. So they're just, hey, one person's doing this and that's it. So for Black Friday, there's going to be one person there. So if somebody gets fed up and says, you know what, they cut all this stuff. I have no benefits. I have nothing else. They're not paying me anything. Why the fuck would I come in here at 5 o'clock in the morning on Black Friday and I'm going to be swamped? Why would I do that? Why would I subject myself to that? And this company is tanking. I'm not going in. You're going to probably get a few of those. Okay. I can't wait for Black Friday to get here and after Black Friday so I can see what is going on at some of these GameStops around the country and what's going to be happening. How many stores are going to be left hanging because of this right here? And you hear it all the time. Everybody who's worked at GameStop or previous employees, even YouTubers, they all have something to say, and it's not sweet. Okay, none of it's sweet. I don't know what else to say about it. Just get ready because it's it's not going to end well. Anyway, let's get off of GameStop and let's get to the last piece of the puzzle I want to talk about. And that is The Last of Us 2 Remake. Now, hearing me say those words, even myself, at first, last week I would have heard that and I kind of would have threw up a little bit in my mouth. All right. And that's saying something because I am a huge, probably one of the biggest Last of Us 2 fans there is on this fucking planet. I bought the collector's edition. I love the game story. A lot of people didn't like the story and certain aspects of the story. I was completely opposite on that. I thought the story was brilliant. Joel being killed off, to me was something that I embraced and I thought, was good for the story because like I said, this is a post-apocalyptic universe where these things can happen to anybody. And for them to write that, I thought that was a bold step. And I knew they were going to get kickback from it if that ever happened. But that's why I love them that much more because they took that risk and they made that happen. And the story was a very tragic story. And that is the story of the Last of Us universe, guys. Okay. Never get too close to one character because then you're going to get that surprise. Okay. Naughty Dog pulled out that warm butter on a lot of people. All right. And I love them for that. I love the story. It's my favorite Last of Us story, even over the first one. And the first one is fucking exquisite. So that should tell you guys something. I'm not talking about all this woke shit and whatever you guys want to bring up. When you come to that, I just thought it was a great story. I did. And giving us another perspective on the characters, I thought was brilliant. Okay. Because we were so in love with Ellie and Joel, all right, we forgot that they done a lot of shit, especially Joel in his life leading up to all of this. And it came around full circle and we were able to see the other side of that coin. And a lot of people couldn't handle that. A lot of people couldn't deal with that, okay, or accept that. And I was willing to accept that. And for most people who are willing to accept that, you're going to get a great story out of this. Okay. And you're going to appreciate what they were trying to do. And I'm not going to go take a deep dive into the game, but it is one of my favorite games of all time. Even me personally, when I heard about this fucking The Last of Us 2 remake, I said, what? The game it can't get any more beautiful. Okay. From a technical aspect, the game is just flawless in my opinion, even on the base PlayStation 4 when I first played it. And then I played it again on the PlayStation 5 when I first got it, my PlayStation 5, and I fucking loved it more. It was even more beautiful. Okay. It ran even more fluid. And I thought, here we are, the top. There's nothing that can trump this. And then they come out with this. I will say that they learned their lesson because what they did with the first Last of Us game, The Last of Us Remake, I was not a fan of. Am I going to eventually buy the game? Yes. But right now, I think that game is still at like $60 or something. I'm not paying for that, especially when I have the remastered version with the extra DLC and with all of the fucking online multiplayer stuff with it. All right. And that's why I haven't bought the other one yet. When that one goes down to like $20, and it eventually will, then I will consider that. Okay. But as far as The Last of Us 2 Remake is concerned, guys, they have actually made this worth buying. They actually have made this worth buying. They've added a lot of fucking bells and whistles in this game. And I can't believe it that they have some of this stuff in here. Okay. One thing that I really loved, wanted to know more about is like, you know, the making of the game, the commentary and those things, you know, breaking down characters, what they were thinking when they were writing for these characters, when you get to certain areas in the game, what they were trying to convey to the audience and all that. I'm into all of that, you know, the lore and everything like that. So they have added this in this new game. You're going to get to play through the game, and they're going to have commentary and things of that nature while you play through the game. And I think that's going to be dope. I can't wait to play that again. But one of the things that really excited me about this is the fact that they have this thing called no return mode, right? And basically you can play different characters through different scenarios in different stages. All right. So characters you couldn't play as before, you're going to get access to these characters. And each one of these characters actually has a different spec build. Okay. They have pluses and minuses. You know, some are more stealthy, some are more in your face. And I can't wait to see what that is. I can't wait to see what characters they add, because they said there's going to be a lot of new characters as well. So I don't know. They got to put Joel in this game as a playable character. And they say that you can unlock a lot of these characters as you play through it. So everything, you're not going to have access to everything at first, but you will eventually once you progress through and start unlocking new skins and new characters and stuff. So yeah, for them to have Joel in the game and you able to play through some of these scenarios with him, I think will be awesome. And I know Naughty Dog, and they're not going to omit him from the game. He's definitely going to be a playable character, guys. But who else they're going to add is definitely going to be a surprise. There was a lot of awesome characters in this game, and we've seen some of them actually if you watch the trailer, but I know they got some surprises sitting up their sleeve, and I want to see what that's going to be about. But yeah, that's definitely one thing that I'm excited to play, this mode. And there's another one that they got in here is they also have customizable gear and stuff like that. So don't forget about that. You can also customize your runs. Okay, so you can have Ellie wearing a bunch of different shit. You know, you can kit her out, and some of these other playable characters, they won't just have one outfit. So you can have them doing different things, and who knows what they have in store for that. They could be something crazy off the wall. Knowing Naughty Dog, there probably will be. There's a guitar free play mode. So some of my favorite parts of the game were just, you know, in that movie theater with the guitar, being able to just kind of freestyle and play some stuff like that. It's just something to, you know, take a break from the craziness out there in that world and, you know, just mess around with the guitar. You know what I mean? And now they have this mode to where they have different characters playing different instruments as well. There's not just a guitar. Apparently there's other instruments you can play, and you can do this in different locations as well. So it's just another added mode there to give everybody. And if you're a huge fan like me, and you love that world and that universe, that's just, it's beautiful. I mean, I'm loving all of this, guys, right now. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I remember when I first beat the game, I'll never forget this. I called my boy, and, you know, I had quit smoking cigarettes it had been years since I really stopped smoking cigarettes, but I remember the morning I beat the game, I went and bought a pack of cigarettes and I smoked it, and I just drove. And I was just thinking about what I just witnessed and just taking in all of the story. I don't think another game has ever done that to me before. I don't know. That's some amazing, powerful shit, man. I mean, that game left a fucking mark on me that I don't think any other game has ever left. I mean, the only other game that comes close, in my opinion, is Shadows of the Colossus, maybe. And I think that's it, man. I mean, that game has just, it's a special game for me. It is. And it will always be. So I'm so excited about this stuff, guys. And I haven't even gotten to the best part yet. Okay. I really haven't. There's also, you can unlock frame rate. Okay. If you have a TV that has a VRR associated with that, I don't know if my TV does or not. I need to check. I'm using a monitor, so I would have to look into that and find out. I'm not a technical guy when it comes to all that shit, so I definitely need to go under the hood and see if I can get that done. But anyway, the best part of all of this, though, in my opinion, is that if you already have the game, all you have to do is pay $10 for the upgrade. So, you know, the main thing I was worried about was, they're going to make us pay full price for this now. With all these things here, I would probably ended up doing that for this game because of all that and the fan that I am with the second game. But I can't tell you how happy I was to hear that all you needed was $10 if you own the game. All right. So think about it like this. If you don't have The Last of Us 2 right now, you can go get it for a budget price right now and just get the fucking upgrade. Just pay $10 more when it comes out. It comes out in January. I don't know oh yeah, it comes out on my birthday. I'm sorry. January 19th. Okay. January 19th, 2024. My fucking birthday. All right. It's going to be a great birthday present. Definitely. I'm definitely going to be playing this. I don't know if that's a Tuesday or a Friday, but whatever day it is, I am definitely moving everything to the side and I'm going to be focused on playing this again. Oh my God. I had such a great time the last playthrough on the PS5. But yeah, man, I don't know how much prettier you can get this stuff, guys. How much more they've added some things, some tweaks here and there. I don't know if I'll end up noticing it or not, but like I said, the game is just breathtaking already. But I am definitely ready for this $10 upgrade, and that's all it's going to be. So yeah, if you haven't played it, or if you had it and you don't have the game anymore, go back. I think you can get The Last of Us 2 now for like $20 easily, maybe even cheaper than that. And in Black Friday, oh, you might be able to get it for like $10. These Black Friday deals are going to be crazy. So go pick it up if you haven't gotten it, if you haven't played it. This is a game you have to play. All right. You have to experience this game. If you're into the survival horror stuff, I mean, a lot of people aren't into that, and I understand that. But if you are, and you're looking for something that is just on another level, okay, as far as just how the game is made, like I have never seen another game made this well. The only other game comes close, well, there's a couple games that don't come close in this. Still, in my opinion, The Last of Us 2 is still the best technically. You have the God of War series, all right? You also have, you have God of War. You have Horizon Zero Dawn, that series right there. And you have, I think, one other game, and I want to say that one would be Ghost of Tsushima, okay? Those are the only ones that come close to the technical prowess of that fucking game, okay? Last of Us 2, in my opinion. The photo realism in that is just, there's nobody else doing it like that. The animations, everything is crazy, guys. It's crazy. It's the best, in my opinion. And I'll leave it at that. But anyway, I wanted to drop that knowledge on you guys. If you didn't know, I know when I first heard Last of Us 2 Remake, my eyes began to roll and butter became very evident in the back of my mind. That I was like, oh, here they go with this fucking butter. But they learned their lesson from the first game. I think they got a shit ton of backlash from that. And they said, you know what, we're not going to go that same route. We're not going to do our fans like that. So I'm glad to hear that. And if we don't get factions, you know, this will have to do. I hope we still do get factions. I really do. But if we don't, you know, it is what it is. Or if we have to wait, which we probably will if it does come out, we'll be waiting for 2026 probably to get factions. But it's all good. I'm so happy to hear this. This is going to be a great birthday gift for me. This is one of my favorite games of all time. I'm excited, man. I'm excited for this one. But yeah, I want to give you guys some info on that. And hopefully you play the game again. Hopefully if you haven't played it and you're looking for something different, you can experience this world. You know, it's one thing to look at it on YouTube and, you know, all that, but it's another thing to actually play it and experience this world. I'm being completely 110% honest. This game is fucking awesome. That's going to do it for the show, guys. I want to thank everybody for coming out, downloading, streaming the podcast, guys. And, I love all of you, man, so much. This is just a breath of fresh air. You know, the podcast is growing beautifully. TikTok now, it's on there. My TikTok is slowly growing, slowly, but it's still doing it. I got a couple new subscribers on my small, very humble random gameplay pimpin' YouTube channel. Okay. And I would love to have more of you guys subscribe. Okay. I only have like 28 subscribers. I think last week I had 26. So it's like slowly, you know, doing it. If I see one person subscribe, then I know I'm doing something right. And they always say that first 100 is the hardest. And then that first 1,000 is the hardest. Those are the two hardest to get. And then once you get that first 1,000, things begin to snowball a little bit. If you're, you know, staying consistent with your content, which I have been doing this past month or so. So guys, there's something on the channel every day, something new. I have gameplay trailers. I have discussion videos. I have shorts. I have something every day on my channel now. And it's been that way for the past month now. So definitely consider subscribing to the channel. If you listen to the podcast, that would definitely help me out and grow the brand. And let's grow this shit together, man. I mean, I would love to talk to you guys a year from now and say, you know, look at where we're at. Look at how far we came, you know, because I'm not going to stop. So just support the channel and support me on TikTok as well. If you haven't subscribed to TikTok at Random Gameplay Pimpin', do that as well. Definitely love to see you guys over there. And yeah, man, I'm going to get out of here, bow out gracefully. And I want to say I love all of you guys. I am very grateful. I am so thankful to have listeners like you and all the new listeners coming in for the first time. I want to thank you guys, and I hope you guys come back. We do this every Monday, same bat time, same bat channel. So with that being said, I'm going to get out of here now, jump in the water, and edit this video, man, and put it out for you guys. So be looking out for it. 6 a.m., somewhere around there. And that's it. I love you guys. I'm out. This is your boy, Studio MacGyver, and you have been listening to Random Gameplay Pimpin'. See you next time.